Hello. How's it going, everybody? I just fat fingered ended my Facebook Live a second ago, so we're gonna do this again. We're gonna we're gonna start over. Um, oh man. So I wanted to go live today because I just got done with breakfast with he's in the fitness space. So if you're in the fitness space, you probably know who he is. But he helps fitness and wellness entrepreneurs and business owners start their businesses and launch their businesses. So I was talking to him about why entrepreneurs, when they're first starting off, fail. And we got into the details because so this was actually an article that was done by Bloomberg, but about 80% of entrepreneurs, 80% of businesses actually fail within their first year. That's 4 out of 5 businesses or entrepreneurs fail within their first year. And we kind of agreed that the number one reason that businesses fail, obviously, why do they fail? They run out of money, right? That's the reason, right? They run out of money and they have to go do something else. They have to go back to a 9 to 5 or do, whatever, go back to working at a restaurant or Lyft or whatever it is, right? So that's why they fail. But why do they run out of money, right? And that was the big question. And we both, very firmly agree that this one's pretty straightforward. And I'm going to get into the details of why businesses, when they're first starting off, run out of money. But first I want to talk about an example because I was having a conversation with a client a couple of days ago, and it really, really hit home for me because this client was a coach and had been in the coaching space for about 5 or 6 years. And this was something they were truly passionate about. This is something that they would have spent their entire life doing. Right? And I've heard this from, a lot of people in this group, but a lot of potential clients and a lot of my clients are like, I love this so much, I would do it for free. Right? And what ended up happening with this coach was basically for 5 or 6 years, he was not able to command the prices that he needed to command. He did something that I refer to as starting low, right? The start low and build up mentality. Right? And this is how, whenever we're first starting, when everybody first starts, this is how most people think, most entrepreneurs think. They think, well, I got to start somewhere, right? So this coach, what he did is he started low and he basically was never able to earn enough money to make a full-time income. And because he was working low end with, minimal wages, he ended up getting shitty clients too, because what ends up happening is when you work at the low end attracts low end, right? So I want everybody to understand this. Low end attracts low end. So when you have a low end product or a low end service or a low end package, whatever the hell it is, right? Because you're living in that scarcity mentality. You're living in that fear mindset. You end up attracting shitty clients. You end up attracting shitty businesses, shitty people. That's just what happens. So for years, he ended up having to grind and stretch and, work, 60 hours a week just to make ends meet. And at that point, your passion, that fulfilling thing, that purpose that you love, no longer is a passion. It loses that excitement. It loses that fulfillment. Because you're working with people that don't want to work with you and you're not being paid what you need to be paid. So after 5 years, he quit and he stopped doing everything that he was doing because it lost its drive, it lost its fulfillment, he lost its passion, right? And he lost his dream because he started with this low end mentality. Start at the low end and build your way up. This is how everybody thinks they need to start their business, and it's just wrong. And I want everybody to understand that. And this, it was really, really hard for me to talk to this person because he had quit. He was done. He never wanted to do it again. And there was nothing I could do to help him past that mentality because in his mind now, helping people meant that you had to work your ass off for people that were thankless, for people that didn't want to work with you, for people that were addicted to their own problems and that didn't want your help. And that was heartbreaking. because he was stuck in this start with the low end mentality. All right, so I wanted to emphasize that with everyone, because when we first start, we start with this build from the bottom up idea. You compare yourself to other people. You compare yourself to other people in your industry. You compare yourself to other people even, that are 6 months down the line, 12 months down the line. You compare yourself to me, right? You compare yourself to other people where they're at. And because of that, you think, well, I got to start somewhere. I got to start low so that people will pay for me instead of working with Zander or working with, AJ Rivera, right? Like, so that's this mentality that you start your business out with, and it's bullshit. Because what ends up happening when you compare yourself to others and you don't have the confidence about what you're doing to really help people and transform people's lives is exactly what happened to this client. He worked his ass off for pennies for years and completely murdered his passion so that he never wants to do it again. He killed his own passion, his true passion in life. He killed it by starting with this low end first and build your way up mentality. So I want you to understand the stakes here. When you start low end, what ends up happening is your passion becomes a grind. It becomes a job. It becomes a job. You lose that excitement. You don't wake up Monday mornings like, fuck yeah, I want to do this shit, right? You wake up and you're just like, oh man, I gotta go find clients. I gotta go figure out how to pay my bills. I gotta push. I gotta sell. I gotta do all these dirty, sleazy, shitty things, and I gotta work with clients that are thankless, that don't even want to be working with me, right? Low end attracts low end. So I want everybody to remember that. Low end attracts low end. You end up working with people that don't want to change, okay? When you get this right, when you don't start low end, right? When you start at the top, the way I like to put it is you start at the top, all right? You don't need to start at the bottom. You start at the top, okay? When you start at the top, when you get this right, you get clients that are ready and willing to change and want to change. Because of that, they're willing to pay premium prices and they get results. Clients that pay attention, all right? Clients that are committed financially are committed energetically, emotionally, and mentally, and they get results, period, end of statement, all right? So when you start low end, you're literally ruining yourself right from the beginning. When you start at the top, you start with people that are ready to change, that are ready to do the work, that are ready to get out of their comfort zone, whether that's you're doing individual work or you're working with businesses, people that are committed to making something happen. Those are the best clients that you can work with. So you enjoy what you're doing. You don't have to stretch yourself thin to work with, all these different clients because you're at the very bottom just to pay rent, right? You work with less, but you get to pour your heart out to those people. You get to pour your heart into every one of them, right? Charlie said, yeah, that's so true. Start at the top. Absolutely, right? That's the way that this works. When you start at the top, that's how you prevent yourself from burning out, being one of those 4 out of 5 people that runs out of money and ends up back in a 9-to-5. All right? If you don't do this, when you get this wrong, when you start at the bottom, all of that terrible shit happens, right? You end up working your ass off for 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is, just to work and work and work and grind, and your passion literally ends up dying. Is that what anybody wants? I don't think that's what anybody wants, right? So what I want everybody to understand is this is what you need to do to fix this. So we need to start at the top, all right? So what does that mean? When you start at the top, that means you need to put together what I call a flagship product, program, service, package, whatever the hell business you're in. If you're in the coaching space, if you're in the consulting space, if you're, starting your own business, whatever it is, right? You need to start with a flagship product, program, service, or package, okay? And this needs to be a higher end program or package, and it needs to get results, period, end of statement. That's it, right? Don't shoot for this, like, oh, I'm going to do a $150 e-course or whatever the hell, right? Start with a flagship product or program and focus on putting something together that's truly transformational for people or businesses, your clients that you work with. Okay, that's where you need to start. This is what you need to focus on. Here's the truth. People want the best. All right? Think about this. I know there's a lot of coaches in this group, so I'm just going to pick on coaches a little bit just because I love to, because I am a coach and it's kind of fun. But think about it. If you're like a transformational coach, right? Or you're doing something that is transformational, you're doing something that is life-changing or business-changing, right? This is something that's truly going to affect someone's life for the rest of their life. And you're charging $200 for it. You think I want to buy it? Hell no, right? If you're really going to be showing me how to change my life and this product or service or package or whatever it is $200, I'm going to go find somebody better than you, because clearly whatever you're doing is only worth $200. Whatever that person's doing is worth a lot more, and they get a lot more. I'm going to get a lot more value out of it. So I want the best when it comes to transformation, when it comes to doing something that's really going to get results for people. People want the best. They don't want a half-ass stuff. They want the top shelf. They want the Don Julio 1942, right? Can you guys tell I'm a tequila fan? But that's what they want, right? That's what I want. That's what every one of you guys wants. When you're doing something that's truly transformational, you want the best because you want to make sure you get there. You want to make sure you get results. So do something that is truly transformational for people, that gets results, and don't be afraid to command the value that you need for it, right? And obviously this is something that, takes a lot of work with a lot of people, but learning to have the confidence, learning to overcome your money mindset and communicate the value of a higher end program that's in, the thousands or multiple thousands of dollars range, that takes work, that takes intentional work, but that's where you need to start. All right? I want everybody to understand this, because what happens when you start with the low end is you build a brand around that. You end up working with shitty clients. You end up not enjoying what you're doing. It ends up being a grind. You end up living in the scarcity mindset and living in fear. And eventually you burn out. And you end up being one of the 4 out of 5 that fails. So what you need to do is you need to start at the top with a flagship product, program, or service. Learn how to communicate the value of that product, program, or service, and help enroll people in that. That's the only way to succeed in your entrepreneurial adventure. So again, with that client that I was talking to, 4 or 5 years, he could never figure out how to get his prices up, get the clients that he wanted to. And because he had started to do it at the low end, he built himself into this circular mindset that just kept taking him lower and lower and lower and lower and lower until he lost all faith, quit, and never wanted to do it again. And that is what I don't want for any of you. All right? And so I posted an example about this. What was it, last week sometime? One of my clients, right? So one of my clients had been going down this path. And luckily I caught her before it ended up, she got to the point where she burnt herself out and never wanted to do it again. Right? But she had been going down this path for 4 or 5 years. She was a transformational coach, had never been able to command, more than a couple $100s for her programs. And because of that, people didn't even want to pay the $200. People didn't even, or $300 or whatever it was, right? They thought that was too expensive because the way that she was handling it and the way she was doing it, she ended up starting to work, low end attracts low end, right? I can't emphasize this enough. Low end attracts low end, okay? So what we did after 5 or 6 weeks of working with her, we flipped it on its head. We showed her how to design a flagship program, how to communicate the value of it, and she was able to bring in her first client at $5,000 within 6 weeks, right? For someone that couldn't even command the price of, I think it was $300 or $200 or whatever it was, right? She couldn't even command a $200 price. People were telling her that was too expensive. And now she's able to work with people that she wants to work with, that get results because they're committed, right? When people pay, they pay attention. When people commit financially, they commit emotionally, they commit mentally, they commit energetically to getting the transformation and getting results. So she got results for this person. She's getting results for this person and for everybody else that she brings in, right? But that's what happens when you flip it on its head. You start from the top, right? She had spent 4 or 5 years at the bottom, and we basically threw all of that out and said, we're flipping it on its head and starting at the top. And as soon as we did, boom, All right, so I want everybody to understand that, and I can't emphasize this enough. If you're working on some low-end programs, some low-end services, stop focusing on that, because it's gonna burn you out. You need to flip this on its head. You need to go for a flagship program, something up at the top that you can design that's really gonna be transformational for people in their businesses. And that's what you need to be focusing on, all right? So for everybody out there that's in the group, if right now you're focusing on a low-end service, and this is different for everybody, right? Because everybody's business is different. Whether you're a life coach, or whether you're an SEO consultant, or whether you're building your own business in social media or video, right? Like I know a lot of video editors that are in this group. So whatever your business is in, right? Feel free, go ahead and comment below with whatever business you're in, where you're at, so we can help you start to understand what a flagship program would be, right? So if you're working on something more low end, comment below. Let us know what it is. Ask questions about, what do I need to do to turn something into a flagship program? Because we'd love to help you. So go ahead and comment below. We can give you our input on how do we actually turn this into something flagship, something high end. How do we start at the top? Because once you get that, you can actually start at the top. You can stop worrying about all this shit. So again, go ahead and comment below with whatever your business is right now, where you're focusing on, or if you need any help developing a flagship program, product, or service, let us know. Just comment below and we'll help you through it, all right? All right, that's all I got for you to get today. I'll get off my soapbox, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Love you guys.